Hey everyone, this episode was with Neemanaz, or Neemanaziri is his full name, goes by Neemanaz on social media. It was a good one. If you are easily offended, you may get offended. If you like having a good laugh, he's a professional comedian. We had a lot of fun. Just a warning, there's a lot of swearing. If swearing upsets you, I would probably avoid this episode. But if you're okay with swearing, some pretty bad swear words in there, not gonna lie. I am Australian. Australians are known for swearing, but we had a lot of fun. We talked about his journey with comedy. We talked about censorship, and he's been censored a few times on big platforms. We talked about where he is now and where he's hoping to be, and we talk about what happened when he found out that Gary Vee started following him and how that felt after grinding for 7 years. This is a good one, guys. Hope you enjoy. Welcome, Neemanaz, to the Mental Dietitian Podcast. It's good to have you, man.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Man, thanks, bud. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah. Woohoo! We made it. Woohoo! What's
I'm
up,
gonna
man?
it'd be like playing that game Penis of who can do it the loudest. Like
I know, right? Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah.
challenge you, but I was like, no,
Nah, I probably win,
Yeah, you probably
I get
won.
pretty wild. Yeah.
Welcome, man. It's good to have you on. Like I said before we started rolling, when I started this podcast, one of the guests I actually really wanted to have on was you. And you posted on your story, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. You're like, hey, if you want to have me on your podcast, send me an email. I was like, well, that was easy, because normally people that are like big names, are up and coming people, they're really busy, and you're super busy as well. But it was cool that you're making yourself available to do that. So I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, definitely,
Um,
man.
I
I'm
wanted
glad
to
you
chat
saw
to
that.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I wanted to chat to you today about a few different things, but I wanted to chat about where it started. Obviously, you've been making content that I could find for about 7, 8 years. And the very first video that you said, you're, I'm Persian like a cat, meow.
Oh
I
wow.
like that.
That's actually wait, where'd you see that?
On YouTube, your
Oh
very first
shit.
one.
Oh, really? Wow, that's fucking cringe because um one of the first comedians that I actually looked up to before I even started doing comedy, he's a Persian comedian, Maz Jobrani. It's actually his joke that he does in his stand-up bit. And I don't remember doing that in a video, but if I did, I'm not surprised because I was just starting out and like I didn't really know the etiquette of like how to do jokes on my own jokes. So I was just like, what the fuck? So I just kind of like mimicked other people on a very like basic level.
Yep.
But yeah, like it's funny because actually now fast forward to 7 years now, I'm actually opening for Maz Jobrani, fun fact, in May. It's coming May. So it's like crazy how the
That
world
is
works like that,
fucking cool, man. Like, I
It
can't
is. Yeah.
imagine like from stealing his jokes in your very first video.
I know. I'm gonna tell him that too. I'll tell him that when I meet him.
You should do it for the opening act, and then he'll just be like, "This
Just ruin
motherfucker."
his entire image. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I wouldn't do it. But yeah, it's crazy because but it makes sense because as an amateur comedian starting out, you don't really know where to take things, and you just have to try shit and fail a lot in order to learn and actually get better and grow from that mindset and start being more original. And that's what I had to go through, obviously. So, yeah.
What made you start wanting to be a comedian? Like, I've listened to podcasts that you on. I listened to a podcast recently that you did. I think it was last year with some African dude. It was a good podcast. It was a good
Yeah,
one.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But yeah, like, what made you start it? Like, you kind of mentioned that podcast. You've always been funny. Like, you've always made people laugh, and you noticed that. But like, what made you start wanting to post content like 7, 8 years ago?
I dropped out of university to pursue my passion, which was comedy and acting, obviously. And when I dropped out, I was like, I got to get on the ball right away. I don't want to waste time. So what can I do? So before I even explain that, I actually found a comedy program at Humber College, which is a college here in Toronto, where they offer 2 years of like comedy training. Like it's like stand-up comedy courses, improv, acting, how to write for TVs, like everything, right? And so when I enrolled into that program, I had to audition to get in like 6 months after I dropped out of my old university, my old college. And so in that meantime, where I had that gap, where I wasn't even in school at all, I was like, what can I do that has to do with comedy right now before I even get into that program. Like I want to get started, like I want to jump start. And so that's when I was really heavy into watching YouTube, and other people post YouTube videos like weekly, daily content. And that was when I first kind of introduced to like, oh, like people are doing content like regularly. And it's like they're getting money. They're getting a lot of money from this shit. And I was like, man, that'd be sick. I would love to do that. And so that's when I kind of just like naturally gravitated towards making content on YouTube. And I started doing weekly content on there for a few years. And that's where it all started. And then obviously, naturally, when that program started, I started to do a lot of stand-up. Stand-up is my main thing. I love doing stand-up. Learn how to write sketches, write stand-up, write anything, improv, acting, all that stuff. And the rest is history. Now we're here at the 7.5-year mark. And yeah, it's like the grind continues, man. The grind don't stop.
How many hours a week do you think you put into just making content? Like just that, because there's probably different things outside of like stand up and things like that, but like just videoing and maybe you're writing down sketches. How many hours a week are you putting into this?
So it's pretty much a full-time job for me. So every day there's not a day goes by where I'm not working on my craft, on my skills, on my comedy. So pretty much the main chunk of my day is working on my career, which is pretty much I leave the morning for myself and my personal health and my mental health and everything like that, building my habits. And then I have lunch. And then right after lunch is when I start doing like all my work, like from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'm going at it. Like either I'm writing shit, I'm filming stuff, I'm editing something, I'm doing meetings or whatever, like all that stuff. And that's so pretty much I go really hard 5 hours a day.
That's cool.
And it doesn't seem like that much, but I've built such a steady routine over the years, and I know my purpose now more than ever. I know my why, that like it's very easy for me to just like go hard in those 5 hours and be so productive more than like a lot of people are within a week in that one day. And so that's what makes me go hard.
I've met people, I've worked with people. I sell cars as a living, right? I sell cars over the phone. Like I don't actually meet any of my clients. And I've worked with a guy, his name was Adam. I saw him get more done in 3 hours than I did in 8. Like it was crazy. The dude was just wild. So when you say that, the average person might be like, oh, it's only 5 hours a day. Like 5 hours a day of concentrated like flow state work it's crazy what you can do. Because like I see what you release. You've got TikTok. You've got over 11 million likes on there. You got like 433,000 subscribers. You got 90,000 subscribers on YouTube. You got about 130 subscribers or followers on Instagram. And you're just pumping stuff out like constantly. Yeah. So for you to be able to do that in only 5 hours a day, I mean, obviously you're probably doing stand up outside of that as well. And,
nighttime.
Then you said you went on tour to Australia as well. But like, where else have you gone on tour?
Yeah, I fucking love Perth, Australia, mate.
Fucking oath, mate.
Fucking hell, yeah. There's a bunch of wogs running around. Wogs, fucking yeah. It's so funny, actually. A funny thing. One of my fond core memories I have from Perth, Australia, is anytime I do a show there. As soon as I get off stage, there's always some bloke who would come up to me and be like, "Mate, you're a funny cunt," and like they would always say that like every time. And I'm like, they just like don't care. They're just like, that's just like that word is just like nothing over there.
Well, that word is very versatile. The thing is, it's like it's such a terrible word now. Even when I say it, like because I've been in Canada for such a long time.
True. Yeah, it's not the same.
It's just like I don't say it anymore. Like that's probably the most I've said that word in like years.
Yeah,
because. I don't know. Australians pronounce it. It doesn't sound as harsh because.
Well, obviously, yeah, that's the whole point. But
yeah,
that's the beauty of the accent over there. You just get away with so much shit. Over here, it's like you're a fucking devil. You just kill you. They look at you like you just killed their family. It's like, yo, relax. It's not that serious. But yeah, man. In terms of you said you like what my favorite stand-up shows have been, or
like where else have you gone on tour? Like obviously like the last 2 years has kind of been weird with COVID and everything, but where have you gone on tour, and where are you going to go on tour over the next 12 months that you're excited about?
Yeah, man. So obviously, on Perth was one of my first ones I did technically in 2018. It was really fun for over a month. And then after that, I did just more so Canada for a year after that. And I was all over, in Vancouver and BC, and then like, all of Ontario and like Toronto and those areas, Montreal, Ottawa. And then I actually met another comedian who's from LA, who's from Vegas, and he's like a touring comedian in the States, and he wanted me to open for him. And so I opened for him in the States for a good like year, pretty much like on and off for a couple months. But like we hit a bunch of shows in that year, which was great exposure for me. I performed in Vegas at the Laugh Factory, which is dope. I performed at the Improv Comedy Club, which is one of the most famous comedy clubs in the world.
Is that LA?
It's in LA. Yeah, I was in Irvine at the Improv, and also I went to Miami and I did the Miami Improv, which was dope, so fun. And then just all over, man. Like we went to Texas, I did El Paso, we did San Francisco and a bunch of other places like DC, Connecticut. In New York, I've performed a few times. So yeah, like it's just been like kind of all over the place in the past little while. But that was more so when I was just like pretty much new in my career and I was just starting to get my legs up and be good at stand-up finally. And that's when that pandemic hit. I was on a roll. I was about to go do way more shows, but then a pandemic hit and I had to like stay at home. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do now? And that's when like I doubled down on my content. I was like, well, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to fucking go hard on this end. And that's when I blew up even more during the pandemic, which was a blessing in disguise for me.
Oh, yeah.
And then now I'm at a point where I'm ready to get back out there and just pump out stand-up shows. And so I've built the following up so much in the past 2 years that now I'm at a way different point than I was before the pandemic, where I can actually do my own headline shows now. I don't have to like, I was still open for bigger comedians, obviously, but the level has gotten up way higher. And so I'm just really excited to get shows going back on again. And I do have a couple mini tours planned for the summer and in November of this year, where I want to hit up a lot of Canadian cities. And eventually we're working toward moving down to the States so I can tour all over the States. And then from there, all over the world eventually.
That's cool, dude. That's cool. Because you're born in 94, right? So you're 27?
Yeah, 27, yeah.
And you've been at this since you're about, what, 19, 20 years
19,
old?
20, yeah.
What was it like having Persian parents, being a Persian dude, wanting to like, hey, mom, hey, family, hey, dad, I want to be a comedian. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck, mate? Yeah.
Tell me about that. How was that, like, starting out?
It wasn't as bad as people would think, honestly, because luckily I have really supportive parents that throughout my whole life, they've always did their best to push me forward and put me into things that will, build my life skills or my, academic skills and whatnot, sports, extracurricular. So they've always kind of put me in those positions to succeed and achieve new things. But they obviously didn't know where I was going to go. They didn't know I was going to become a comedian, right? Because they didn't know that was an actual thing that you could do. Because back home in Iran, you tell a joke, you're getting fucking stoned. So there's no possibility there. But over here, I could talk about my dick for half an hour and I'm getting applause breaks. It's like crazy, It's like two different worlds. But they don't know that, right? As those immigrant parents, they don't understand that, which I don't blame them for. But that being said, when I got to the point where I wanted to drop out of school and pursue my passion, I was super serious about it. And they know me as a very emotional, serious, passionate person in my own life. When I do like something, I really like it and I go for it and I love it and I dedicate my time to it. And there's not many things that I would do that for other than comedy. So when they saw that I was super serious about it and I already made the decision to drop out without even telling them, they were like, what the fuck? And they were like disappointed at first. And my mom was crying, like, how are you gonna survive? And like, it's like fucking the end of the world. And then my dad's obviously the one who's like the serious engineer dad who fucking, always is adamant on me doing math and science and all this academic shit. But it's just not who I am. It's not me, right? At the deep core of my heart.
Yep.
So when that happened, when I showed them and I told them how passionate I was and how much I really wanted to do this, they had no choice but to be like, well, you know what? They just saw in my eyes that they're not going to convince me to change my mind. So they're like, well, fuck, like, what are we going to do? Like, if you're really going to do this, my dad said, if you're really gonna do this, you better do it 100%. And literally ever since that day, man, I took that shit to heart, and I've been doing it 100% every single day, because I know I'm not only doing it for myself, but I am doing it for them, so that I can prove to them that I made the right decision, and they made the right decision by supporting me in this venture. And so, yeah, it went way smoother than most Middle Eastern parents would handle it.
Yeah.
Because I know some of my friends who, if they were to do the same thing, they would have either beat, fucking abandoned, like some crazy shit would happen. But I'm lucky enough to have the parents I do that really supported me in this whole thing, even though it was shaky at first. But now they're fully behind me, which is nice to have.
Yeah, dude, it's so cool seeing like the beautiful relationship you have with your mom and how she's on your videos. It's just fucking awesome. It's just like seeing her smile and laugh, and she participates, and it's just cool. Yeah. It's just awesome to see. And like, she's probably like, I think I was emailing. Is it your brother Omid?
Yeah, my brother. He's my manager.
Yeah. I think like it sounds like the whole family is just like this tight knit unit, and they're just supporting you, and it's just awesome to see.
Yeah, it's cool. Crazy, man. It's like it's like unintentionally like formed like a whole team for my business.
So cool.
Over the past, it's like who would have thought? Who would have fucking thought everything would be based around me at that point in our lives? It's like I didn't think I'd be the one who would be like super successful out of everyone, but you never know, right? So yeah, but it's cool, nice to have their support and their good intentions for me.
So you're obviously able to make like a full-time living from this now. Like you're able to like make, I've always wondered, like you said you opened up shows for people. Like how much do you get paid when you're starting out as a comedian? Like it's like $100, $50, like free drinks, like a meal. Like what is it?
Yo, you're lucky if you get a drink ticket, let alone 3 drinks. Yeah, you might get a fucking bubbly that's opened already from the guy down the bar.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Shout out to Bubbly.
Shout out Bubbly Boys.
Bubbly Boys. No, man, it's really dog shit at the beginning of comedy, man. Honestly, it's the worst experience. But you have to really love it. That's why I'm saying, like, if you don't love it, man, you're gonna die. You're gonna be buried down deep in the dirt, because it's ruthless. No one gives a fuck about you. No one's there to save you. You're on your own. You got to build up your own skills on your own. And eventually along the way you build your rap and you become friends with people and make connections, but for the most part, man, it's a dog eat dog world, and it's like you're on your own, literally. And it's hard because the comedy community is typically, they have this bad rap about, having this image of shitting on other comedians, and like it's a very cliquey. It's kind of like high school in a way, where different pockets of comedians only talk to each other and talk shit about the other comedians from over there. And like
I've heard that,
and it's very
Joe
negative.
Rogan talk about it.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's like, he helps young comedians. Like some of them get really fucked over by management companies and things like that.
Yeah.
It's I've heard him talk about it in depth on his podcast with other comedians, and like some comedians like, hey man, thank you for guiding me and mentoring me when I was about to sign that deal that gave me. They basically they lose their creative expression, or they end up doing like a 70-30 split in the favor of the management company. It's just brutal.
Fuck that. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing that you don't learn when you're doing stand-up comedy or comedy in general, is like no one teaches you the business side of things. It's like that you got to be really lucky to either know what the fuck you're doing or be really smart or have the right connections. And luckily for me, I have people in my corner who are both on the legal side of things, and from experience, they've been in the industry before, or entertainment industry in general, and they've dealt with bullshit for over a decade, right? So I've had the luxury of having that by my side, so I don't get fucked over this whole time, which has been really great for me. And so yeah, it's just like very negative energy, man, with the comedy community. And like I actually did my best to separate myself from a lot of the comedy community for the past few years now. And I'm very happy I made that decision, because now I'm building that gap further and further from other comedians. And not because I think I'm better than them, but in a way it's like, I don't see myself as what they see themselves, as this small-minded, like, oh, only 1% of comedians make it mentality. Like I don't see myself. I don't see that. Like I heard that my whole career. Like, yo, man, this shit's hard, man. You're never gonna make it, bro. Like 1% of comedians make it. I'm like, yeah, you're saying that you're already canceling yourself out.
It's
Why
a
the fuck would
scarcity
I tell
mindset.
myself that? Why the fuck would I tell myself that when I'm gonna be the 1%?
Yeah.
Who the fuck? I don't care what you think, right? So that's the mentality from generally in the comedy community that I had to, kind of distance myself from, and I'm so happy I did that because now I feel like I'm actually on that way to becoming the 1%.
Well, I think you already are, man. Like I was at jiu-jitsu at 10 a.m. today, and they were like, "Oh, you're going to stay for the next class." These two guys, and I was like, "Nah, man, I got a podcast with this guy Neemanaz. He's like, is that Neemanaz? I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, wow.
He's like, "Dude,
Nice.
I fucking love that guy." I was like, "Yeah, dude. Like, I get to have a conversation with him. I'm going to talk to him about like maybe his more serious side and the things that we don't see, and like,
right?
Because we see Trevor, we see Angus, we see
Shane, Bobak, Luca,
fucking Shane, man, Shane makes me uncomfortable. He actually makes me uncomfortable.
This guy rambles too long, bro. Like,
holy
shut the fuck
shit!
up, dude.
It's just funny because everybody knows guys like that. Where you just like they say a lot, but they say nothing of substance,
and they don't know that they're doing that. That's the worst part. They're so oblivious. Yeah.
The way that you're doing it, and like, I was going to ask you, who helps film most of these videos? Is it your partner? Is it your brother? Or is it a mixture of other comedians? Or is it just an entire team effort?
For the most part, it's just me filming everything on my own. I've just been used to that since the very beginning.
Yep.
One of my main things is I never rely on people because I know how that turns out and it never ends well. So at the very least, I always rely on myself. But then there's times where my brother's around and he's made it clear, like, he's a part of this company now. He's a part of this brand, and like he wants to help it go further. So whatever he has to do to help, he will help. And so he helps me a lot now too with filming certain videos or taking time out of his day to help me film. And then like here and there, like other people who are around, they're my friends or whatever, they'll help me here and there, but for the most part, it's me and my brother. And then eventually, we're trying to work on getting like a full-time videographer, so we don't have to worry about none of that shit anymore. So
that'd be so sick.
It'll be sick. Yeah, it'll be proper. Yeah.
How much does a full-time videographer cost, like per month? Do you think?
I think it depends because we're looking on like we want to the way our brand. Kind of what we want our brand to look like is we're like we want to stay grounded and humble and remember where we came from and give back to the people who we grew up with or people that we know are also dedicated to their craft and have a passion for what they're doing, and they're young guys who are like want to come up and like make a name for themselves. And so we want to help people who are like they're young kids or like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. Who are just starting out, want to like do videography, like we want to eventually like incorporate people like that who have the right mindset like we do to move forward and just be a part of the journey and not have to not worry about like when the money's coming and shit, because once you start worrying about the money too early on, then you're never gonna make it, because it's not, you can't be doing it for the money only. You gotta have a passion for it. So that's what we look for.
Yeah, if you had have done it for the money originally, I wouldn't be talking to you. I wouldn't have heard of you.
I wouldn't be here, bro.
No,
I wouldn't be here.
There's no because when did you actually start? For example, when did you get to the point where you didn't I didn't even know. I have no idea what kind of income you can even make right now. But when did you get to the point where you're like, holy shit, man! I'm getting to the point where I don't have to worry about money anymore. Like with this, I don't feel like I have to go get another job or do something different. I can do this full time. How many years did that take?
Pretty much 5-6 years, because I mean, luckily for me, man, like I said, my parents are mass supportive. We've been lucky and blessed enough to stay in their house this whole time. Cool. And not have to pay rent, man. That's a huge fucking part of all this. I owe it all to them. Honestly, if I had to pay rent while doing this, I don't know if I'd be in the same position. So from the amount of help I've gotten from my parents and my family to allow us to live in their house still all these years and fucking be okay with me yelling every day into a camera with different characters and shit. I'm surprised they haven't gone crazy. Just every day they hear me doing a different voice. Our son's fucking psychotic. But yeah, man, I a lot of it goes to them, but also now because we had so much time So, I think of Gary Vee when I say that, but
so much fucking time.
Bro, you have so much fucking time. Like we had so much fucking time to use and work on ourselves that we're like, okay, let's just stay in our parents' house for now, not be too greedy. Even if we do make a little money, like let's keep saving and put it back into the brand, invest it into ourselves.
Yep.
Till we get to a point where we make a lot, then we can branch out and then move into a better place that has better room and more space and more equipment that we can just keep building, right? So. Yep. That took about like 5-6 years now. And now we're at a point finally within the next couple of months, we're getting a not massive, but like a bigger, way bigger chunk of money that I've ever made in my entire life coming in. That's going to fund a bunch of shit that I'm doing that'll make things much easier. And I can hire people now. I can bring more people on board and make them a part of the process even more than before. So, and like for the past 2 years, we've actually had 2 full-time team members on our team.
Wow.
Who helped pro bono this whole time to build the brand. Yeah, and so those are the main 2 guys that we're first investing in when we have the money, because like they've been along the ride for this whole time and like be stupid not to give back when we do make the money, right? So like we're not about fucking flashy shit. We're not trying to buy a Mercedes just because we get a little bit of money. Like that's fucking dumb. Like we don't care about that stuff. So we're just always looking to invest it back into ourselves. Yeah, otherwise you'll fucking lose it, man. You lose it.
Yeah, like a lot of people, they try to, especially in this social media world that we live in, they try to look a certain way before they're even ready, or before, like it's odd. And like I really respect you for like these 2 guys that have come along with you. It kind of reminds me of like the Nelk Boys in a way of what they did. Obviously, they're buying flashy shit now because it's just stupid how much money they've made.
Yeah,
but like
a lot of money, yeah.
Kyle Forgard, for example, as a business person, how he brought his friends along and how he has the same dudes. And like when he met Steve, for example, and he was just some degenerate kid that could drink a bunch of alcohol. And now look at him. Like it's really cool to see people, and that we can do that these days. Like we can do that with a camera, just filming fucking content.
That's
like,
it, man. It's gonna fucking make, okay? That's it. That's all it is.
Like, it's so funny. Like my friend Vic, who I work with, is like, bro, you got to get him to do the Gary Vee. I was like, I can't just get him to do anything. Like, hey, man, can you do the Gary Vee for me right now? It's got to like flow.
It's gonna be natural, man. It's gonna be natural.
Yeah, but it's just I want to ask you, how did it feel? Like you put so much time, so much work, probably thousands and thousands of hours. How did it feel when you found out that Gary Vee saw your shit for the first time and he shared it? Like, how did that feel for that moment? It's probably fucking amazing.
Yeah, honestly, he's like my internet dad. And he was one of the first people at the beginning, before the pandemic, that I discovered that like really shaped who our whole like business model is now. It's like he's the reason why we're even here in the first place, is because of his message and his content. Really, literally, like he talks about just pumping shit out, doing shit what you love. Don't worry about people's judgments. Do what you want to do, and post as much content as possible, because the quality isn't up to you. It's up to the market to decide, right? The audience decides what's good or bad. You can't control that, but you can control the quantity. And so that's where I learned to pump out more and more content consistently. And that's it, man. Like, just like hearing his shit. I've read his book. I've read his audiobook. I've watched his content, everything, man. Like I follow him on everywhere. I see stuff all the time. It really motivates me. And also it's good ammo for me to, do an impersonation of him. But overall, man, when I see his stuff, I just know this guy's a real ass dude. And he's just like doing shit that he loves. And that's what inspires me to do what I love. And so the fact that, someone like that who has this much reach on all these platforms over the past like few decades, and I'm the one who's impersonating him, and I'm the best one supposedly that is out there, because he's the one who saw my shit and shared it, and he followed me, and that just fucking completed the whole theory of like, man, you just like gotta post shit because you never know what's gonna happen. Like it's like the proof is there, man. If I didn't post Gary Vee videos, he wouldn't have seen my shit. He wouldn't have shared it. He wouldn't have followed me. And it's like that's that. Like, there's nothing else to it. So it's like, if he can see my shit and follow me and like it and laugh, why can't other people see it? And so it's like, it's just like, it's very easy for me to see that now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
it's really just such an amazing moment for you when that happened. It's just like confirmation of, it's like because sometimes when you start a journey like this, you've got to go out on faith a little bit and be like, if I really post this much content, will, for example, Gary Vee notice me one day? And when like you know it like theoretically, but when it actually happens, you're probably like, holy shit, like it happened. Mm-hmm. Who next that you impersonate that you'd love to meet or you'd love to that is like a hero to you? Like obviously Gary Vee, you really mentioned that, but who else do you really look up to that you'd love to meet or have follow you or have a conversation with?
I'd say Andrew Schultz.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that guy's a fucking killer, man. He's like one of my favorite stand-ups right now. I'm actually seeing him tonight in Toronto. So yeah, he has 3 shows yesterday and today. So someone like that, man, he's like a killer on stage, and I love his style on stage because I see a lot of myself in him and his style with his stand-up. And so the guy like that who's blown up and he's famous already, but he's gonna be even more famous in the next few years. That's someone I look up to in the stand-up world that I would really love to meet and work with for sure. But yeah, man, there's so many people like that I look up to right now that would love to meet, but he's definitely up there.
That's cool. Yeah. Who's your favorite character that you've invented that you like doing? You like impersonating? Who's your favorite?
Oh, fuck. That's always the hardest question people ask me. I don't know. It changes, honestly.
Well, your top three right now that you're just like having fun with.
Yeah. Honestly, I love doing the I don't do it as much as the other ones, but I have a Cuban guy who I
love that guy.
Yeah. ¿Qué pasó? Right? It's like I love that shit because I don't know. I've been to Cuba so many times. I've met Cuban people. I've met Latinos all over, and I just like they're all the same. They're all like that, and it's like
happy, full of life.
Happy. It's always good vibes. So it's I love doing it because that's also who I am. So, yeah, definitely want like that one. Like obviously,
what's his name, by the way?
Miguel. Yeah, Miguel. Yeah, Miguel. I don't even know if I have a last name for him, but I just named him Miguel. But yeah, like definitely him, and then like I'd say Bobak, which is my Persian character, which is the most
hilarious,
one of the most popular ones I have because it's kind of biased because I am Persian myself, and it works. But he's just like he's like I see him being like one of them, like almost like a Borat level character. Like he's just like I'm gonna make a movie with that character for sure one day. Like I just know it's gonna happen. And then aside from that. I don't know. Honestly, like I've been having a lot of fun with Bianca, which is my basic bitch. Yeah, that one's just like people. That's a crowd favorite too. So, yeah, definitely. There's a bunch, man. They're all fun to do, but right now I'm liking those ones the most.
I like those ones too. I wanted to talk to you about this. When you, I saw you share something. I actually commented on the story that you shared, like. You're like, I don't know why I have to reiterate this, but like when I'm impersonating these people, it's because I love them and it's affectionate. It's not because I'm racist. It's not because that I think that these people are bad. Like one of my favorite ones is the Nigerian one that you do.
Oh, right. True. That was good too.
And I used to work with this Sudanese woman. Her name is, what was her name? Diana. And she would always do that thing with her lips. Like,
yeah, just kiss her lips.
And you did it. And I was like, holy shit, like it's just so spot on. But like I wanted to ask you, like, what kind of weird shit and weird feedback have you had from people, especially in this really sensitive, kind of oversensitive world that like have you had some just like obviously you've had issues with Instagram and TikTok and things like that. And like you had issues with the what's that big drug dealer's name? You did.
Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, you did. You did that video, and you put a lot of work and a lot of time into it, and they took it off.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah, man. People say shit all the time but like that's the thing, man. When they lack the context of who I am and what my life, what I'm doing here, they just like say whatever the fuck they want. They can judge whatever they want. But I get it. But like I don't care. It doesn't affect me because. More than anything, I know my purpose. I know why I'm doing things, and it's like I know my truth. These people who want to say random shit, they don't know who I am. So it's like I can't even blame them. But I feel sad for them because it's just a reflection on who they are as a person, and maybe they're jealous or they're bitter that they can't do something, whatever it is.
Exactly.
Or they're brainwashed into thinking this is wrong, when it's like, man, I'm just here to make people laugh and bring joy to the world, because this is how I grew up, man. This is the people I grew up with.
Yeah.
I did accents my entire life, man, with my friends, random people I worked with, my mom, my family, and they all love that shit. Everywhere I go,
Yep.
that's my
all
thing.
Different races, all religions, they all love it.
Literally everything, man. Like I grew up around everybody. Like it's like, why? It's my experience, man. It's my life. I can't talk about my own experience. So that's where it becomes easy for me to just like separate that shit and be like, all right, I don't care. But people always, they always the classic is like, oh, you shouldn't do this, man. You're not this. It's like, you can't do this if you're not this. I'm like, man, like, do you not understand what humor is? What like representation is? I'm representing, man. I'm not punching people down. I'm just, there's if you ask any of these people from this culture, no one's representing them. I'm the one representing them. So what the fuck can you say to that? It's like, what, you want me to not do it? Like they love that shit. Like,
I've gone through your comments before, and like I've gone through your comments when you do, for example, like the Nigerian guy. There's a bunch of Nigerian people being like cheering you on. It's amazing.
They love it, man. And it's funny because now I'm at a point where I've built a following so much bigger that people do recognize me on the streets sometimes now. And there's like, it's so cool to see the different walks of life come up to me, because I'm like, this is exactly what I've designed. It's like, I'm glad that white people come up to me, Asian people come up to me, Indians come up to me, black people come up to me, like everyone. And like, it's like, like the classic example for like Nigerian, for example, it's like, I was walking down the street one day and this big black guy comes up to me and like, I was like, oh, yo, what's up, man? He's like, yo, he's Nigerian. He's like fully Nigerian. He's like, yo, brother, keep doing a Nigerian accent. I love it. Okay. And then like, I'm like, yo, like when I hear that from an authentic Nigerian guy who's just like, he's like new to Canada, I'm like, bro, you can't tell me I can't do this shit when this guy himself, the root of the culture is telling me that it's like he loves it. So it's like,
exactly.
I listen to those people and like, it's more reassuring to me that I'm on the right path, and like I am doing good, because it's like my intentions are good, man. My intentions are to make people laugh and do what I know more than anything, and this is what I know. And
what's cool is what links us all together is we can all laugh. I think the world needs to just laugh at itself a little bit more. It feels like it's just gotten too serious, and I think that comedy is like the last bastion of free speech. Like if you start trying to fuck with comedy, which has happened in the last 2-3 years, like you really start fucking with comedy, and like, oh, you made a joke about black people, Asian people, you made a joke about like things like really serious shit, that if you can do it right, it's beautiful. If you fuck it up, then like things like rape, like that's a hard thing to joke about.
I don't know anything about that, so it's like I'm not going to talk about it.
You're not going to go near it. But I've heard some jokes about that. I mean, it's not the actual act of that is not. It's never okay. It's not funny at all. But if we can't live in a world that like makes jokes about things and like tries to make things happy and fun and bring, like you said, bring joy to the world, then it's such a weird time to live in. And like I wanted to say, I really appreciate you doing what you're doing, because even though that it's probably hard sometimes, like when your TikTok got banned, you're probably just like, what the fuck, man? Like, am I really trying to fight this battle? And I can't, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, legit, man. That's all it is, bro. It's like, just some people just don't get it. And they're living in this sad reality that like everything is dark. I'm like, it's not a way to live. It's not a way to live.
Terrible way to live.
It's like so much more life out there. You just got to look for it and be open-minded to it. Have a growth
exactly. And you've probably noticed this: the people that are negative in life just end up having a shitty life because it's all they see. And then the people like you and me focus on the positive, happy stuff. Like you're going down the street and people like of all races, all nationalities, all cultures, they probably recognize you. Like, hey man, like thank you for doing what you're doing, and it just confirms exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
And there's it's funny because the majority of people who call me racist or tell me I can't do something are all white people.
I know they're all offended white people to get offended for other cultures.
Shut the fuck up.
Probably don't have any friends that are actually in that culture.
Exactly, because they don't have any fucking culture. Exactly. But I can. It's so funny because I'm like, realistically, man, there's no one out there that's more cultured than I am, man. Like I have friends from every walk of life, like languages and shit. It's like you can't tell me I'm being racist when you don't know anything about any of these cultures. When I know way more than you do. So it's like the day comes when you as a white person know 30 fucking accents and cultures, and you grew up with all these people, and you're better than me. Okay, sure, you can call me racist, but until that happens, shut the fuck up and get some culture, motherfucker. Fucking guys out here named Dale and fucking Connor calling me racist. I'm bro. Go fucking to the cottage and fish. Okay, worry about yourself. It's like it's a lot of girls too. A lot of these fucking non-binary, like LGBTQ, whatever, like PC culture, crew of people who are the ones who do this shit. But I'm like, you guys are not oppressed, man. Like, you can't speak for other cultures. You can't for their oppression. I'm like, bro, like, no, none of these people are calling me racist. You're the only one who's calling me racist or homophobic or misogynist or whatever. When I'm like, you live in a boxed cage.
Well, you're doing it because you love them.
Realistically, you love them. It is, bro. It's all love. It's all it is. These people just don't understand that because they grew up so pampered and coddled and they think everything has to be all like soft and like, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. You can't say that. I'm like, well, how are you living? Like, how are you happy? There's no way. There's no fucking way.
Imagine living in that reality. Imagine just like waking up in the morning and just like opening your phone, like, oh, what the fuck? And then like you go get a Starbucks and somebody didn't use your pronoun. You're like, oh fucking God. Monsters. And then like you go on public transport, you go to work, and like imagine living that fucking life. No wonder that somebody like that, for example, like no wonder they react like I kind of feel sorry for him. I have compassion for him. Like, fuck, man. Like,
it's like I see like the same people who write, oh, like stand for this and like, oh, free Palestine, stand for Ukraine, and all this shit. I'm like, they're the same ones who like complain about their order being fucked up at Starbucks and yell at the barista. I'm like, you're a fucking dick. No, you're an asshole in real life. So it's like, why should I listen to you? You know,
there's virtue signaling, whether you try and make look like it's like this picture of you handing like a dollar bill to a homeless person, for example. Like, oh, look how good of a person I am. It's like, fuck you.
Fuck off, mate. That's what I would say. That's when my Australian comes out. Fuck off, you cunt. Right? Say it. You fucking wog.
You fucking dog cunt.
Fucking dog cunt. Yeah, man. So that's it, man. Like these people, those people who would get offended are the ones who are the saddest. And I just feel sad for them because I'm like, I wish you just saw it differently. I wish you saw it better. So you saw it more open-minded and be such a happier life, man.
Yeah. Like it's just the like, more that you can see and the more cultures you can surround yourself with, the more that you can have a broader view on life. And it's just like, I love talking to people. I've talked to people. I talked to this one dude from Eritrea in Africa.
Yeah.
And he was telling me all about it once. He's like, yeah, it's like the North Korea of Africa. I was like, really? And he's telling me how there's this dictator and how fucked it is and how grateful he is to be here. And like, then you look at like Filipino people. They're just always so happy and they work like 18 hours a day, 3 jobs, send half their money back to the Philippines, and they're always got a smile on their face.
Yeah.
You know? And people are like, oh, they're not all like that. I'm like, no, but a majority of them that I've met are, and they're such loving, grateful, happy people. And they're working jobs that you don't want to work, that you would never work, that you would complain about. And they're broke living here compared to the average Canadian, but they're stoked because they get to help their family back in the Philippines.
Yeah, and they're rich in life, man. They're rich in spirit, and I think it's way more valuable in any life than fucking money. Like, I mean, money helps for sure, of course, but man, they could have had it way worse back home, just like my parents.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's way worse for them back home. But like, man, they're living a luxury over here. And so I mean, obviously, unfortunately, in my generation growing up in Canada, it's like we don't see that as much as we don't have that perspective as much as our parents do, and my immigrant parents and other immigrant parents have, you know, that fled over to here. But it's just like, but like it helps to be a part of that growing up and realizing what's actually happening. But like a lot of these people who get offended, they don't grow up like that. They don't grow up with parents like that because they grow up with fucking just regular white families in Canada, man. Like, and so that's it.
Such a good life.
Yeah, it's like you don't have anything to worry about, bro. You have nothing to worry about.
I was chatting to this guy I do jiu-jitsu with. He's from Israel. And I was like, man, like, what was it like growing up with like war and like that? He's like, oh, no, like people got it wrong, man. There was only 3 wars like when I was growing up.
Only 3 wars, yeah.
And I was like, bro, in Australia, there was no wars. Like, yeah. And he just like played it off. He's like, oh, no. Like everybody's got it wrong. There was only 3 wars. It was great. Like it was peaceful. It was good. And I'm like, what the fuck, man?
They're so casual.
So casual. And I was like, okay, like
we have it so good.
We got it so good. We just don't understand, and like we'll complain because our fucking triple espresso llama milk latte is cold.
Yeah, exactly. Why did you spell my name wrong? You fucking bigot. How you assume my fucking gender on my name? It's Taylor, not Tyler. You fucking bigot. Like, calm down, man.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I didn't hear you through your 3 masks that you're wearing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you fucking pig, you brainwashed sheep. Think for yourself. Yeah, so
tell him, Nima. Tell him.
Yeah, watch me get canceled for that.
Oh man, somebody takes a little snippet from our podcast when it gets released in a couple of weeks, and like it somehow makes it to like CBC News or something.
I get snipped from everything. I get blacklisted on every channel ever.
If that ever happened to you, like, would you have to like? I know that there's platforms out there that like most people haven't heard of them. I know they're there. I just don't remember the names of them, which shows how big they are.
OnlyFans. Because I'm ready to shake my titties, bro. I'm ready to go, bro. I built up this immunity for years. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fucking release the demon. But I don't know, man. It's like there are like private clubs and shit, private like memberships that a lot of people do. Like Nelk does Full Send Club, which is a brilliant idea, and that's similar to what I'm doing now. Actually, I've been doing that recently. I've started a Stupid Club.
Yeah, which is, I'm subscribed.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It's my secret club, obviously, for anyone watching, where it's like, I keep getting censored on all these big apps and platforms that I have to start like, navigating people towards my private club. So that it's like, knock on wood, one day fucking I get banned on everything. At least there's like a bunch of people who are still on my email list where I can be like, hey guys, I got fucked over by the big tech companies, but here we are. I'm gonna post all my shit on here now. And then like
people that Kid Carson guy from the radio in Vancouver. Did you hear about that?
No.
He basically went on a rant about what his thoughts are on COVID and everything, and he didn't have a job, I think, the next day. And
wow.
And he's like, he released something on his Instagram. He's like, hey, like I've got a family. I'm starting a podcast. I'd really appreciate it. I know that most podcasts are free, but if you really appreciate it, if you subscribe for $20 a month on Spotify. Oh, wow. And I think he's the second biggest podcast in Canada right now.
Oh, wow.
So it just goes to show like exactly what you're saying. If something like, if you share your truth, regardless if people agree with it or not, I don't agree with what everybody says about COVID and what their thoughts are. I like even the people on both sides, I don't agree with, but it's like we should be able to have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
But I also, there's a slippery slope where there's like, biologically, human beings like to find out negative information quicker than positive information because it helps keep us alive. Like 10,000 years ago, you're like, oh, I'm going to be positive. It's like, no, I'm going to look out for saber-toothed tigers and I kind of have to be default negative. Otherwise I'll die. Right. Then what happens these days is the algorithms get a hold of negative fake news, for example, and just blasts through the entire platform, and it might be completely not true.
Yeah.
So then it's just like, oh, is it okay to censor that stuff? Then it's like, well, what is okay to not censor? And then it's just like this fucking nightmare that we're kind of in right now, which you're dealing with. Like, oh, that goes against our community guidelines, Nima, and we're gonna take your page down. You're like, man, I was just trying to bring joy and happiness into the world. I'm not trying to hurt anybody.
I know, like, fuck. That's what I'm saying. They just people have their priorities on backwards. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do, man?
Keep doing what you're doing. That's what you're going to do. You're going to keep doing what you're doing and for as long as you possibly can. And like, I mean, how big is your email subscriber base now? Like, how many people are subscribed to it?
We have, I think, about 5,000 right now.
That's awesome.
Pretty good. Not bad, yeah. And
that's awesome.
And we've only promoted it like a few times. So we're gonna keep pumping it out, get more people on it. So then it's also a good place, you know, eventually when I announce shows and merch and other special opportunities that will come along, live events that people will have first access to. So it's good for all that stuff.
When are you coming to Vancouver?
I want to come there in this year, if possible. If I can do my
hard
tour.
To do shows here probably right now. It's just like everybody else is shutting down their shit, and BC's like, no, we haven't announced anything.
Really?
Yeah, like with the whole COVID stuff, Ontario is kind of like the whole mandate thing. Like they're kind of changing it. Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta, BC hasn't announced anything.
So, really?
No.
They're still like masks and shit, everything?
Oh, yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Well, so, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, like I want to wait till mandates go down before I release a date there, because I've had to reschedule my own show in Toronto because of that same reason where they put on restrictions again. And I was like,
I saw that.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'll be there, dude. I'll be there for sure. I wanted to ask you, obviously you've been at this for 7-8 years now. Where do you see yourself being in the next like 12 to 24 months?
I see myself doing I'll be on TV, and for sure I'll be on TV show, I'll be on a movie.
You've already been on TV show. I mean, on that podcast with that African dude, he's like, how is it getting stabbed by Black Noir? I was like, what is he talking about? Because I love that show. I was like, Neemanaz, the boys.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, there he is.
I know, right? Yeah.
I heard that you just went for the interview and they were like, yep, you got it. And you're like, okay, cool.
Legit. I was like, the fuck? It was the first audition I did, and I booked this role, and then nothing for like 3 years. I'm like, that's great. That's fantastic. But whatever.
It's a good.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. I watched it. I was like, this is good. I mean, it's only like what, 10, 15 seconds, but it was good.
Whatever. I had to learn Arabic and be a Syrian terrorist, but you know, nonetheless, I'm on TV, baby. Woohoo! Let's go.
All right. Before we kind of wrap it up here, I wanted to try and see if I can get you in the flow so I could talk to Gary V. I don't know if it's possible, but I wanted to ask what your thoughts are on blueberries.
Bro, I fucking eat that shit for lunch, dinner, breakfast. That's all I fucking eat, bro. Okay? I fucking love that shit. Fuck everything else. Do what fucking makes you happy, okay? Fuck.
Holy shit, man. Like the way that you can inflect your voice like him is just, how long did it take? Because I actually saw your first Gary V thing that you did, and you got so much better at it than the very first time you did it. The way that you can inflect your voice, like, does it hurt your voice when you're doing that?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it does. It's like, that's one of the hardest ones for me to do, to be honest, but that's why I don't do it as often. But when I do it really good. And then it's like a banger for a while. People can watch, and then it's like, wait like a few weeks, and then I do another one, and then
my favorite one.
I do so many fucking voices, man. It's like I have to like space it out sometimes. I can't just do all the high pitched or like deep ones at once. It's like I gotta really be strategic now. It's like I don't want to fuck up my voice.
Well, because it's your craft. It's literally like a carpenter's like saw. Like if you just keep using the saw and blunt the blade all the time, you'll be like, man, like I can't do what I need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. My favorite one is the one, hello, Gary. That one.
The Indian guy? Yeah.
Fuck, it's funny. Like, I love to paint.
Yeah. But like my parents. Fuck your parents. Yeah.
Fuck your parents.
Yeah, they don't know fucking shit. Yeah, exactly. That was a good one. I want to do
and
more.
Then I thought you made that up, and then I looked up. I found the video of Gary V actually saying to some girl, Imagine your mom and dad getting shot in the face.
Shot in the fucking face? It's so fucking funny.
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah, that's funny, man. It's one thing I have to mention too is a lot of people like when I post these impersonation videos of Gary V or whatever, they think I'm like shitting on him. Like,
I know.
I'm not. Like, I genuinely love the guy, and I'm actually just doing an impression of him. Like, I'm just exaggerating because that's what comedy is. A lot of people are like, "Oh man, I love Gary, but this is hilarious." I'm like, "Yeah, I fucking love him too." Like,
why are you putting the but in there? The but is indicating that I don't like Gary. Like, the cool thing about Gary Vee is I think he knows that you love him.
No, he knows. He's smart enough, and he has a good sense of humor. That's why he follows me. That's why he's talked to me a couple times on DM now. So it's like,
that's cool.
We know he laughs, and he has a good sense of humor. He knows I'm not shitting on him.
No.
Yeah. So
just those privileged white people have never suffered through anything.
That's
that
it.
Need to because I've never suffered through anything. I'm going to jump on the bandwagon of the black people because they've suffered through a lot, and I'm going to get offended for them.
Yeah, when they're not offended at all.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because they've got a thick skin because they've had to have a thick skin ever since they were little because of the stuff that they deal with.
Yep. Yeah.
And this little privileged white person doesn't have a thick skin, and then they project it onto everything else in their life. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, and they have no flavor in their cooking, so that makes it worse.
Fuck.
But it's okay. I love white people too.
Like, do you have impersonations of white people? I suppose you have Angus, who's Scottish. You have fucking.
Yeah, I got Travis, a hockey player. I got
Travis is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, hockey player. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, even like Bianca, she's a dumb basic bitch. And then I have a couple. Like I used to do Canadian dads with my friend Austin a lot. Just two Canadian guys.
The one that you did I love the one that you did, the letter to Santa with the two Canadians.
Yeah, the two Canadian dads. Nice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Joel and Glenn, eh? Okay.
Fucking reach there, buddy.
Oh fuck yeah, that's pretty good, man. You got the Canadian down, bro.
I have people ask me to do it sometimes.
That's funny.
Like, yeah, but like when people ask me to do it, I'm like, I can't just do it off the fly. So that's why when I was thinking, like, oh, how do I get him to do this Gary Vee thing? Like, hey man, can you do the Gary Vee? It's like it doesn't work like that. Like it's
weird. Yeah, you gotta make it flow, man. You know, and also I just kind of do it when I feel like it too. It's like sometimes like I'll just do it because I think it's funny and I don't know, it's just like cool to do. But I hate when people ask me like deliberately, like, yo, do the Gary, do this, do that. I'm like, don't fucking tell me. I'm not gonna do it if you just tell me to do it. Like just if you love it and like you just show love, or like you're like, yo, man, love this video, like your voice is perfect, blah blah blah. Like, oh, like, and then they say like a word from Gary Vee, like you said, blueberries. Yeah. Then I'll be like more inclined to be like, yeah, fucking TikTok, and like I'll just say it. Like, you know, it's just like fun, you know, that way, more loose.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, like, to kind of wrap up this conversation, like, what is some advice that you could really give somebody that like wants to chase after their dream and has a dream like you did? Like, what is, like, I know you kind of posted about content the other day. You said it's more important to pump out quantity versus quality, because the quality will come just by pumping out quantity. Yeah. Like, what kind of advice that you see? You said you want to help young people like 16, 17, 18, 19. Obviously, you see those people as you were when you were that age, and maybe you wish you had Neema in his current form when you were that age. But like, what kind of, I don't know, everything I'm saying, I don't even know what question I'm asking, but you can probably pick up on what I'm saying. Like, just, I want you to speak about that for a little bit.
Yeah, man. My whole message is to just be authentically yourself and just do shit that you want to do, man. Because at the end of the day, people will read through the screen or through the stage if you're not being yourself. If you the second you try to be someone else, or, you know, be something you're not, like, people read right through that and you'll lose your audience. You'll lose people. For me, I really pride myself on being myself from the very beginning. I just, whatever I do my normal life behind the camera, that's how I am on camera, always, no matter what. And that's what translates really well. And that's why people fuck with me heavy. And that's why I love my community of people, because I've built that over the years of just like proving that I'm just being myself. I'm just another guy who's just putting my shit on camera. And so that's hopefully something that could be inspiring to younger generation people, or even older, who fucking need it, like who want to do something that they want to do that, but they're too afraid to take the risks and are nervous because, oh, fucking Auntie Cheryl is gonna talk shit about me at the next fucking Thanksgiving dinner. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about any of these aunties, okay? I'm gonna fucking do what I want, and they can eat my ass. Like, not literally, but, you know, that'll be weird. But you know what I'm saying? Just fucking
What is Auntie Cheryl like eating ass?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, she's a big ass eater, that's for sure. But that's it, man. And so I feel like a lot of people just need to get out of their heads and get out of their own way and just take the risk and just try shit. Because if you don't try, you're not gonna learn, and if you don't fail, you're not gonna succeed. So that's it, man. It's all as simple as that's the formula. There's no real formula. It's just try, just do as much as you can, and just stay consistent more than anything. That's the number one lesson I've learned in this whole thing, is that consistency is the key. And that's all it is, man. That's all it is. So that's all I can say.
Thanks, man. Yeah, like I just started this podcast. I literally procrastinated for a year, 2 years, and I had a bunch of people say, "Hey, you can communicate really effectively. You can articulate your thoughts really well. You should start a podcast." And it's always something I always wanted to do, but I just didn't do it. And now I'm just forcing myself to do it. And like how I structured it is 1 week I have a guest, the next week it's just me. And it's funny that you say that, like, be authentic to yourself, because my very last podcast was only like 12 minutes of me talking. Right. So you have two choices in life. You have the choice of being true to yourself, and you will attract people to you based on who you actually are, or you can pretend and change yourself to who you think people want you to be, but eventually that will fall apart, and then you're left with yourself, and then people like you for somebody you're actually not. And that's the thing. If you did that with comedy, and then people found out you were a different dude versus who you portray yourself on camera, that wouldn't work. So yeah,
exactly. 100%.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks for the conversation. And I know you got to go here in about 6-7 minutes. You may need to shit, or you may need to go do a piss. So yeah, I'm going to let you do that.
Dookie. Yeah, it's just drop a fat steamer.
Fucking right, eh?
Fucking right, pal. Oh, yeah. You could definitely fucking use it, pal. That's it. I'm going to go hang with some shillas now.
Oh, God. No, that's something we don't say. We also don't say put a shrimp on the Barbie.
Yeah,
that is Ace. I think Ace Ventura. No, Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber. He said that.
Right. Say shillas? Sheilas?
Only bogans say Sheilas, man.
Bogans.
Fucking bogans.
Bogans. Fucking bogans.
Yeah, right. They're the only ones that say Sheilas. Like, we do say really weird stuff. We abbreviate everything and put O's on the end of it.
Yeah, Arvo.
Yeah. Arvo, going to the servo.
Yeah, servo.
Having a yarn with a couple of blokes down the local, and this cunt started just talking shit, and I ended up having a blue with the cunt. I just fucking knocked his 2 front teeth out. Just fucking 3 hits, mate. Me hitting him hitting the ground, and the ambulance hitting fucking red line to come pick the cunt up.
Fuck, that's so good. I love that.
On that note,
love it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You inspire me. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to keep supporting you and keep liking and sharing it with all my friends. And we'll hopefully see you in Vancouver soon.
Fuck yeah, man. Thank you, podcast cunt.
Thanks, man.
All right, man.